when I was younger, I always like used to say, and I still kind of believe this, like your diet is how to look good with clothes on. You lift weights to look good with clothes off. So it does like change your figure and shape from like an aesthetic reason as well. But like just to set yourself up for long term, to be able to get up and down off the floor, to open jars, to pick up your grandkids, like that's
and look good naked.
And look good naked.
That helps. Welcome to the Bloom Era. Join Marie, Michelle, Vita, and Michelle, 4 lifelong friends, on our journey through perimenopause. We'll share our stories, insights, and laughter as we embrace this new stage of womanhood. Let's bloom together. Why am I so nervous?
Welcome to the Bloom Era podcast. We are the Bloom Era ladies, and we are talking about the 4-week pause, which is a program we're running. It's 28 days to pause and establish healthy habits to help you bloom through perimenopause and beyond. So our program has 7 habits we're being intentional about putting in our lives and tracking and being mindful of. And one of those habits is strength training / resistance training. And it's just super important as we are in the middle of perimenopause, going into menopause, and just for our overall health, something a lot of women I don't think find important in their youth. And now we're playing catch up, many of us, not all of us. But Vita, I think you've got some information from.
So, I mean, as we age, our estrogen levels kind of decrease, and then that kind of has a negative impact on our bone density. So just our bone density decreases. But in addition to that, as we age, our muscle kind of mass decreases. I think we get at our peak muscle mass at around 30, 35. And after that, you're kind of slowly losing, I don't know, 2 to 3% a year. And you can lose up to 30% of your muscle mass by the time you're like 60 and 70 or something like that.
That's just by existing.
Just not because of some disease or anything like that. Just getting old. And those numbers may not be accurate, but I kind of Googled it previously and I don't remember them exactly.
The exact numbers. But yeah.
So, and the just point there, is, the point
you're
is
losing
if you
a
do
lot of muscle
nothing, you're going to be losing bone density and muscle mass. And those are very critical for us to kind of live, as we age. Those are going to be very critical for us to just walk around and be able to, get up from the, a seated position, pick up things. I mean, muscle and bone density is just very important for just having a good quality of life as we age. And we've been talking about that a lot, to be there for our grandchildren and to play with them. So not only, and in one of our previous episodes, we were talking about how movement kind of helps you maintain your muscle mass or even, and your bone density. But another piece of that is kind of strength or resistance training. So that's another tool that you have to increase bone density, or at least help not decrease bone density, and then also definitely increase your muscle mass. And another benefit of strength training is that the more muscle you have, the more calories you burn. So it's really good for weight management as we age. And then also kind of, I think muscles are they store a lot of, glucose. So it kind of helps with maintaining a good blood sugar level. So there's just general really good benefits. And there's all these other side benefits that I've been hearing about that I don't, as I was kind of doing my research, kind of preparing for this, I don't know, it hasn't, I don't think gotten to popular kind of just known information yet, but they're talking about contracting muscles release these hope molecules. I think some influencer mentioned it makes you it's kind of a mood booster. It makes you hopeful. So I don't know what that's about. It's something that I'd like to look up more, but it's not readily available information. I don't know if it's kind of just up and coming research. I don't know. And another thing they were saying about, there's a connection between muscle mass and Alzheimer reduction, basically that constant connection that you have with your body helps maintain connections in your brain and may reduce kind of the likelihood or severity of Alzheimer's. Again, these are just things I've been hearing through the social media world. Have you heard more?
I've seen that stuff about the brain stuff. Since, again, Alzheimer's has been something that I've been worried about. That muscle health, kind of helps keep the brain working longer.
Yeah.
So what you were talking about, I think this might be, I'm the scientist, this is the science reason, it's not. But you were saying the muscle helps with glucose, right? And so they're calling Alzheimer's basically geriatric diabetes.
Yeah, type 3 diabetes.
Yeah.
I've heard, yeah.
Okay.
So it's insulin resistance is probably helped with muscle mass, and then so you're processing sugar the right way and things like that. And so that would make sense. I see that connection possibly of Alzheimer's and muscle being.
Yeah, so there's all these potential other benefits that I'm just not very knowledgeable of. I mean, we're not scientists or doctors or anything in the room, but just the fact that it's going to help, I think, with preventing osteoporosis and just help keep you mobility as you're, keep you mobile as you age, I think is important enough for me to be like, let's fit some strength training into my daily life. Personally, I've always enjoyed strength training. It's something I've done since my 20s. And once I got married and had kids, kind of dropped off that priority list. So I'm really excited to kind of bring it back because it was something that just brought me a lot of happiness.
Vita, you were a competitive.
Yes.
Oh yeah. I mean, no, I would be like,
but you were.
You did.
I competed.
We saw the pictures.
I didn't do so well.
Stared at the pictures. Oh my God.
I didn't do so well in the competitive world, but I felt really good about it.
Yeah.
Right. And I enjoyed it. But more than anything, I think I enjoyed feeling strong, being able to do a pull-up and stuff like that, which I cannot do anymore at all. And so I'm just kind of like, So I just like feeling strong and capable. And so, excuse me.
No, I mean, I think that I've never felt that. I've never been like where my body felt strong or capable per se. But I think it's exciting to think about. I don't.
No, absolutely. Like just moving those canoes and stuff yesterday, we went canoeing at a friend's house and being able to do that and not feel like, oh, I'm going to hurt my back or something. Like that's what I want to keep being able to do. So I love that. I saw this thing, Dr. Peter Attia, he's a longevity doctor, and he says a woman in their 40s should be able to hold 75% of their body weight, so half and half in each hand, for 1 minute. And that grip strength is a great predictor if when you're 80, if you can open a jar, because that's how we lose it. So we have to be strong enough now to be able to take care of ourselves in our 80s. So I think I love looking at it like that way. Like, how can I set myself up now? And strength training is like imperative to set ourselves up now to be able to be self-sufficient as we get older.
Yeah, 100% agree. I mean, I want to be able to, I guess my mother-in-law is in her 70s and she goes to the rec center and she does yoga and she's like pretty independent. But then I see other folks, like I know my dad's a little bit more, he's less independent. I think he just hasn't taken care of his health as much. So there's a big difference in like being mindful of like activity and what you eat and kind of the consequences as you get into your 70s and 80s. And I've seen it. So, I mean, I definitely want to be on the side of being more independent, especially we kind of had our kids later in life compared to like maybe some of our peers or what they did 20 years ago. So we're going to be kind of older grandparents. Yeah. So, I mean, just being
you
ready for that.
Be helpful to your children.
Exactly.
When they have kids.
I want to be able to babysit and them not think like, I'm not leaving her with grandma.
Exactly.
I'd rather, they'd be better off by themselves.
We'll
like, I don't want to be that grandma. No, I'm capable. I can play with them and cook for them. And I'm mentally going to be there, So I want to prepare for all that. But so strength training, I think typically they say 2 to 3 times a week. But again, we've been on the kick of like, do more than what you did before. So whatever that is for you.
That saying, do more than you did before.
Yeah. So whatever that means to you. And then we also talked about like the concept, because as I've been going through the pause, I've been like, sometimes I have my good days. I'm like, oh, this is easy peasy. This is lightweight. No big deal. But then I have my bad days and it's like, am I failing? And I don't want to feel like I'm failing when my goal is just to do better overall. Right. And I don't want that to be discouraging, kind of be like, I didn't do good today. I'm just not going to do anything. Or I don't feel good. So, or I didn't feel like going to weight train. I didn't do 3 weeks of weight training this week. So I'm done. I'm going to quit the program.
What's the point of doing it at all if I can't do it perfectly? That's not the idea of this at all.
Yeah. So we kind of talked about like the floor to ceiling kind of goal setting. So 2 to 3 is kind of what they recommend, but everybody's different and everybody starts in a different spot. So for me, 2 to 3 does work for me. I think 2 is, kind of my goal, 2 to 3. So that's what I've been trying to do, doing a lot of just workouts. I go to the YMCA, so I tend to do my strength training workouts there, but I have stuff at home too. So if I don't feel like going to the gym, I do have stuff at home. But yeah, so what have y'all been doing?
I am very new to all of this. I have no history at all. So I go to YouTube, and there's this really cute English dude, and he does perimenopause workouts.
What did you do? Did you Google
I Googled
perimenopause strength
training workouts, and I mean, most of them were like ladies, and they were all like toning and get your tush, and I was like, I don't care about any of that. And there was really I just looked up 20-minute because I was like, I don't, that's where I got to start. But, and so he's this little Australian dude. He's like, we're going to pick up grandbabies. Well, he said it in an English accent, but he's super sweet. And, I watched him.
That's cute.
And he's cute. Like, he's a cute little guy. So I'm like, this is fun.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
A little cougar lady in me is like,
He's going to love hearing this.
Who is he again?
I don't know. I'll have to send it to you. But anyway, but he does it's 20 minutes. So you get you do however many in a minute and a half. Maybe it's 90 seconds of whatever workout, whatever thing. And then you get a minute rest, and then you go back into whatever, and then you do it twice.
How are you feeling? Like this is the first,
yeah. So this is, so the first week I did it once, and then this week I did it twice. And
getting better.
I know. So I was like, okay, there's progress. We're on the, what is it? Like up and to the right. That's the goal.
Yeah.
Right. And so, but no, I feel great. I love how I genuinely I get the hormone high. I don't know what is going on, chemicals in brain. Happy. Because it does. I feel like it's a little bit more. Yeah, endorphins. Like it's way more than just the walk around the, it's a exponential.
Oh.
Yeah, there's something about what is it contracting those muscles that releases something. It really is. And then once you start, sometimes that's the hard part, is just getting started. And I've heard some people say and it's hard, especially if you go somewhere. I also work out at the Y, but it's hard to go. So I like to go when I'm already out, and make it my plan. Just don't go home. Stop by there.
Oh, that's smart.
But just so if I'm planning on going on a day I don't have somewhere else to go, it's so hard to
if
leave
that's
the house.
The only reason.
Yes, exactly. But when I'm already out, I'm gonna make sure I bring all my stuff and keep it with me, and then I can go. So that works for me. But I've heard people say give it 5 minutes. If you're still not feeling it after 5 minutes, then maybe it's not the day for you. Maybe your body's just not ready. Maybe your mind's not ready. But if you give it 5 minutes and you're still not into it, it's okay. But usually you're always into it after 5 minutes. But for me, it's just the going. Once I go, I'm fine.
Oh, yeah.
And the same here. We have a gym at home, but I don't I need to go somewhere to make myself do it.
Right.
I used to not be motivated to do it at home because I'm the couch is so close. So I would do it on the way home from work, on the way to the kids' daycare. And that's just kind of a stop on the way and do a 30-minute, kind of like what you would do with this video where it was a circuit type training where you did as much as you could do, then the kind of rest, keep your heart rate up, and then next. But then when the kids started going to school and I would be home to get them off the bus, they didn't go to daycare anymore. So I didn't have anybody to watch them. So I kind of quit the gym, just didn't do anything. So I've recently, earlier this year, started doing it at home. And I kind of got into a routine to where now I'm able to meet 3 days, which is my goal.
Yeah.
3
days a week at home. So I bought all kinds of random stuff at home, with the bands mostly. I like the bands because they don't take up a whole lot of space, which I don't have. And
what do you do? Or do you make up your own workout?
I looked up different exercises that you could do with the bands, and most of them come with papers anyway, for each different muscle kind of group. And I'll do a different one for each one, at least twice a week, kind of thing is what I've seen, kind of thing. So that you need to do twice a week for each muscle kind of spot. So,
I love that.
Yeah, I go to the Y, and right now, for a while I was doing 5 days a week, but that was too much right now. So now I go 3 days a week to the Y, and I usually do full body 3 days a week. And I follow a program from a online guy, Mark Carroll. So I just have the app on my phone, and it tells me what to do. So I work through all the body things. But I've been doing that I never strength, and I wish I would have. Why didn't I do this in my young 20s? Why was I not lifting weights in college? I don't know. And that's when it really, you reach if you're not lifting weights in your late teens, early 20s, that's when you build your foundation forever. I'm I didn't know that.
I didn't.
Anyhow, so I didn't do that. But I started probably, what was it? It was after my first child was born. I joined a gym, and we were living in a different city. We moved around. My husband was in the military, and I joined a gym, and I was not in a good mental space, and I just didn't go forever. And my husband kept saying well, cancel this membership if you're not going to go. And I'm no, I'm going to go eventually. And finally I went and started with yoga. I started doing group classes, started doing strength training with that. And then after my second child was born, I started CrossFit. And that's when I really saw the benefits of lifting heavy weights. Now, I don't do that anymore because I don't like lifting weights for time. I feel like there's too much potential, especially as I get older, of injuring myself. So I really like the more like the bodybuilding. I've never built muscle easily. It's always hard for me to build muscle. I'm like, as much as I lift weights, I should like look a lot different than I do, but it's hard for me. And then the way you build muscle is you have to progressively overload. And that means like do more than you did before. So if it's increasing 1 pound, if it's doing one more rep, if it's doing one more set of reps, whatever it is, you just slowly over time take the same thing and you slowly build. And in the beginning, when you first start, it's easy to jump because you haven't done anything before. And then you get where it's like really, really hard and the increases are much more incremental. But like that's how you get stronger and that's how you build weight or build strength. And I think some people just build muscle easily. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you have to have you have to have enough protein to build the muscle too. But it's a struggle for me to put on muscle, but it's something I enjoy. And it definitely changes my mood so much if I lift weights or not.
So since you said it's hard for you to put on muscle, like what are you kind of looking to for the affirmation that you're on the right track? Like, is it the way you feel after a workout? Like kind of what's your carrot?
I mean, a lot of it is just if I can lift more is my big thing. Like if I'm getting stronger.
That makes a lot of sense.
If I did the same as I did 2 weeks ago and it feels easy, then I can add a little weight, or if it's, that's the big thing. When I was younger, I always like used to say, and I still kind of believe this, like your diet is how to look good with clothes on. You lift weights to look good with clothes off. So it does like change your figure and shape from like an aesthetic reason as well. But like just to set yourself up for long term, to be able to get up and down off the floor, to open jars, to pick up your grandkids, like that's
and look good naked.
And look good naked.
That helps. I feel like I like the traditional kind of bodybuilding type workouts. Yeah. That's just what I like.
Yeah, same.
Like squats and lunges and all those you can do without any weights, especially if you're starting off. Yeah. Like just squats and even those lunges are super. I still do them without weights. I mean, they're just difficult. I think they're difficult for the heart. I feel like
Bulgarian split squats, anything where you've got like balance and when you isolate one side versus the other,
And I like those are deadlifts, squats are pretty basic, lunges are pretty basic, hip thrusts, and a lot of that you can do without any machines. You could do at home with just your body weight, and then I like the push-ups are pretty basic stuff too. Push-ups. Some dips and stuff like that. So there's a lot of stuff that
overhead presses.
That you can start off slow.
So is body weight, like using just your body, does that count towards?
Yes,
especially in the beginning. Like if you're still like you're not going to build more muscle over time, but if you haven't been doing anything, you do just body weight. Like that's perfect. Eventually, you add smaller weights and
like you said, progressive overload. If you've never worked out, try doing 50 squats. Like you're going to be sore the next day just using your body weight. So, like you said, as long as it's more than what you're doing before, that's progressively overloading your body, I guess.
Yeah. And then also depending on your body weight, like if me and Michelle were both trying to do a pull up, I'm pulling up more weight.
Yeah.
So,
yes.
That's plus I'm less strong in the arms than she is. So, as I would, lose weight through doing that, that's going to go down. So then you would have to add weight to it. But, your weight is what it is when you start. So
what was my other question? I had another one for y'all.
I love that you're lifting weights now, that you're doing strength training.
Like it's so I genuinely was like, my brain feels like really good. I think I didn't know about that hope.
Look it up. I don't know much about it either. I've just kind of seen it there. Like some lady, I think it was the Huberman Lab too. Like they're talking about hope molecules. Like, what is that?
I think I heard that like a reel or, like a short clip from that, but I didn't know it was specifically towards strength training. Like,
yes.
I think she was like, oh, it's, working out is a hopeful thing,
I think you're just saying contracting muscles. I guess it doesn't necessarily have to be strength training. But also, I feel like a lot of people, and again, this is anecdotal as well, like work through their depression by not just the movement, but I think the strength training, it's like the pushing yourself. Yeah.
Literally, I was on my couch for probably a year when we had to move. It was in a dark spot and it was working out.
Was it just the movement or was it strength training or could you pinpoint?
All of it.
It was just all of it?
All of it. Okay. All of it. It was.
It sounds like you need like a jump start anyway. Like almost anything would have been a good.
Yeah.
at
So
that
I
point.
think, but I mean, I started with just the movement because those were the ones I felt more comfortable doing. Like I felt comfortable. Okay, I'll try yoga and then I'll try a spin class. So those ones I felt more comfortable at first. And then I started incorporating strength training.
Mhm.
So
Oh, how long do y'all's freewheeling? Like I got me and my Australian English guy, we're committed to 20 minutes, but what are you guys spending in the gym?
Anywhere between 30 minutes and an hour. I think leg days are a little bit longer for me. I do things based off of like sets and reps.
Yeah,
So
same.
I do 3 sets of 12 reps typically. So whatever long it takes me to do that. And when I started back up, I was in the gym for a very long time just because I was so out of shape that I was taking so many breaks and this and that. But now I've kind of like, as I've gotten better. So it's not really it's a set and reps things for me. And like number of workouts, I'll do like 4 workouts today and 3 sets of 4, 12 reps and whatever I finish.
I'm the same way as you. Mine
Yeah.
is between 6 and 15 reps. And then when I get to 15, I start back at 6 with a higher weight.
Oh, okay.
So if I'm at the 6, it goes faster than if I'm at the 15 because then I do 3 sets. So it's 6 times 3.
you're progressively
versus 15 times
overloading,
3.
Shelley.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Oh,
So,
so
that's
say
kind
that
of-
again. Okay. So you do 6.
I started like 10 pounds 6 times.
Okay.
The next time, maybe 7 times until I get to 15.
and then
I'll go
higher.
up in the next weight and start at 6 again.
That's cool.
Yeah. I
didn't
also
know that.
vary my rep ranges as like the program I'm doing now. It's like, I think it's 12 weeks total. So the rep ranges go kind of up and down just to
Oh.
challenge you a little different. But
Okay.
it's there's only so many movements you do and there are different variations of it.
Mhm.
But I like having a little change. It just keeps me motivated. Like, oh, I've been doing this 4 weeks. Now it's time for a new one. But you can't doing the same movements over and over is how you build strength as well.
Yeah.
So if you're not bored by it, you could do the same
I was
thing.
going to say, I'm not bored by what I'm doing. So I typically do the same things. Which
What I've said is
yeah,
that,
fine.
or read, it's like basically the last 2 like in the set should be really, really hard to do.
yes.
And if they're not, then you're not heavy
And
enough.
that's where I'm at right now. I'm kind of trying to get back into it being a regular part of my life, getting back to it. And then like as it becomes easier, I don't necessarily change my reps. I just go up higher in weights.
Yeah.
So
And then the 3 days is another reason I do the 3 days is because to get the rest days in between because I do the full body like Michelle, where like I guess if you do the 4 or 5 days, usually you're doing upper one day and lower another because I did read like especially with perimenopause and stuff, you need to get those rest days in to let the muscle fibers that you've kind of torn,
they need
like
to
good
repair.
tears, not like torn hurt,
Right.
heal, which is how you build the muscles.
Yeah,
kind of
when I
thing.
do
So
5 days, it's normally I do 3
Yeah.
lower body and 2 upper body. But some people do push pull, some people do body
Yeah.
parts. Right now, I'm doing full body because it's just
Yeah.
3 days.
like when I was trying to build what I was doing, I looked a lot on like Pinterest is where I got a lot of my.
I do not know how to navigate through Pinterest. I hate it. It's like a bunch of pictures and I click on it and it goes somewhere
and then
I'm
you
just
get like bad sites.
I don't know
or-
where
they're
it's
not.
taking me. Like, I hate it. I don't know. I just am the same thing with TikTok. I know y'all are on TikTok. I was like, I cannot navigate through it. I just feel so old.
Pinterest is usually taking you to somebody else's blog or website.
Yeah, but then you don't
so-
get to the photo you're like interested in. It's like you start over sometimes. Right?
sometimes.
I know.
No,
It's
just like
But I like it because it's
Pinterest
an
scams,
easy
I
way
feel
to
like.
save
Oh,
what I'm
okay.
looking at, kind
Okay.
of thing. So I guess it's like a favorites list if you're Googling.
yeah.
But-
Sorry, sidebar.
So do you guys walk around with like a list or do you just know in your brain what you're going to do?
I have an app.
You've got your
I
app.
have a
And then
spreadsheet.
if I don't have the app, I print it off on a clipboard and I carry a clipboard in and I write it in the gym. Or I write
Do the
down
cool
them.
kids do that too?
No, just the old people.
Matt's got an app for what he does.
All the young people look at their phone or just do something else.
Yeah.
But there's me and a couple other old men, like old men, and they write it down. The trainers write stuff down, but
I think, yeah.
a lot of people have little notebooks. So some people have little notebooks.
I could keep stuff on my phone, and also sometimes I just kind of play it by ear. Especially if I'm working out with my husband. Every once in a while we'll be aligned. Like,
do you
where
guys
are you
like
working?
work out together? Like
We
do the
have.
same thing?
He doesn't love it because he
Yeah.
likes to do his own thing.
Same. My husband does not like
I'm
working
just
out with me.
like, but I'm like so excited because like I have a friend, you know.
I'm always jealous when I see the couples and they come and check on each other. And like,
Yeah.
even if we go to the gym at the same time, he's like doing his own thing. And I'm like,
Yeah, that's my husband. You'll say like hi, bye, but every once in a while we'll be aligned. He'll be like, oh yeah, I am working back today. So like, oh, awesome. But yeah, so I'm okay. I have a routine that I like, but I'm okay straying, especially if I'm not feeling good or if I'm feeling extra good. Do more, do less.
Yeah.
So I'm not super regiment about it.
Yeah, no, I think that going to the gym sounds incredibly intimidating to
It's funny because so when I was going to the gym all the time, I started to get to the point where, because I was bodybuilding and I felt like I was also like I was in my 30s actually at that point, but I was like, this is my gym. This is my house. Like I have my routine. I have my friends. I felt very confident. Then I got out of the gym for a while, went back, and I was like so insecure. Even though I'm familiar with all the machines, I know what I want to do, but my body looked different and the people were different. I had aged some and they were younger people. So I was like, I feel so insecure. But then now that I'm back at it again, I'm like, okay, I'm back to like, I'm feeling myself at the gym, even though I look different. I'm still older, but it just took me even like
how many trips before you felt that way again?
I don't know, maybe a month or two. I mean, it took a while before I stopped feeling kind of intimidated going back to the gym. And it was weird because I hate that was a part of why I liked going to the gym because I felt like it was like a
second home. Like
I felt so comfortable. But then I'm going back and it's like new people and everything like that.
Is it a new gym too? I mean, like, are you in a different area or is it?
From before, yeah. But that's, I was going to mention that another thing too, that it just kind of builds community. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know you're doing it on YouTube and stuff like that, but if once you get to the gym, I guess if you
comment section is lit. No.
Yeah.
The comment section on YouTube.
Yeah, but it's like, I feel like, especially if you go to like the YMCA and it's a family kind of environment, you run into like family, like people you see all the time. So it kind of is a community aspect of it too that I kind of got back into that and makes me enjoy it even more. But when we first started going back, or when I first started going back, it was definitely intimidating, even though I felt like I was a pro.
When you were going back, wasn't it? When you first started?
Yeah.
I say the summer in the gym is very different because it's all the college kids and the high school kids are home, and it's a very different environment. Now I like it better that it's like
calmer.
Yes, it's calmer. It's more older people.
When I was going to the gym, I did Planet Fitness. So they had like the circuit. So I liked doing that. Again, I liked the circuit kind of thing. But kind of would look off and like the area where I had like the cable machines with the free weights, that felt intimidating because you always said that's where all the big muscle guys were.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not going over there, you know.
That's funny. I feel like if you go
to my circle.
Yeah.
If you go now, and I'm sure it was different 20 years ago, but now it's like pretty equal men and women in the free weight section.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, you definitely have like the pose, the guys who bodybuild and like to look at their muscles in the mirror, but it's pretty, there's a lot of moms, there's a lot of grandmas, there's a lot of granddads, like people are just trying to
just be healthy.
Yeah.
Do you think young women, because I don't feel like when we were young, when we were late teens, early 20s, I never got the impression that I had to be in the gym in that way. I went to the treadmill at college gyms.
Elliptical
machine was like all I did. I never even, that was, I mean, honestly, that's the boy side to me. Yeah. Like my brain. Do you feel like girls are getting a different, better message about this?
I feel like that has changed so much. And I think it's wonderful because I wish we would have had that younger. But yeah, it did feel very divided. I feel like when we were younger, and now it's
like it just felt very much like, oh, that's an athlete and a boy thing.
And it was fine. I didn't need it at the time. But now I'm like, oh, that would have really set me up from the next stage of life better. Like, but no, I don't. You see so many young girls.
Yeah, I was going to say, especially, like the MCA. And then I've seen, it's cute too. I've seen like little boyfriend girlfriends in there.
So many little couples. They're adorable.
They're just like working out. And then like you could tell they're all kind of like new to it. I mean, they're in their teens or early 20s, but they're like going together. So it's another kind of
it's adorable.
Yeah, it's cute.
I love that.
And when my husband and I were first married, I would go to the gym at his school sometimes with him. And then I would like, I don't know, because he was into weightlifting, so he was really strong, and I was not at all. So I was just like, oh, I'll just walk on the treadmill or do the elliptical while you do that. And I wish like that would have been so fun if we'd have done it together. And he always had like, he wanted to teach me, but I was just intimidated to even take that step. So
I love that though, that it's changing, that you're seeing a generation of girls that are,
Can I say when I do my workouts at home, my strength training, Everly comes in there, and I've got a 5-pound set of dumbbells, and I've got also like these little 1-pound ones that you're supposed to carry like when you walk. And she'll get them and she'll start doing like shoulder press things or bicep curls. I guess is what she's seen kind of thing. And she'll do those, or we'll do a plank together, and she'll see if she can beat me kind of thing. So she's trying to do the workouts with me. She likes we call them the butt bridges, the hip thrusts.
Yeah,
she likes those.
Ren has her bar, her gymnastics bar at home, and so she's been working. I mean, it's just amazing to watch her do it because she can like lift up, and it's just like all core strength and like pulling herself, and like she'll just stay up there and then flip. And me and Mark were like, oh my gosh, she's like legit getting like her shoulder, like you can see like some definition
muscles,
and we're just like, oh, we're so proud of you. Like, it's not that tone it down. You don't want to be bulky.
Yeah, I think the way we talk to our girls too is like really key. Like, and my husband and I really do that. Like, we like, oh, look at your muscles, and oh, you're getting so strong, and like,
no, I love
they love it. They're always like, ooh, look, I'm strong, and so
every little flex after our workouts, and it's so big.
That's a big part of it too. I feel like not only are we setting ourselves up as we age, but we're, I think, being a good example for our kids, so that it's like, oh, this is maybe it won't be as much of a struggle to incorporate into their lives. So they just go, oh, this is just a part of everyday life. This is just kind of what we do. And so I don't know, maybe that way it's kind of helpful too.
Yeah, I think that's key too. If it's just part of your life, like if it's already a habit, it's just something you do. It's not as hard to when things go awry, you're just used to doing it. Like it's easier, it's harder to drop it if it's something that's just part of your life, like brushing your teeth, like you're just going to keep doing it, and that's amazing.
Another thing that I love, I mean, again, I'm always like talking to the girl in the audience that's like me, that's like, oh, this isn't for me. I don't work out. I don't do this. And it just really helped my brain. Like, I very much am, if I haven't done it before, then what's the point in starting now? Like, why change it? Like, this is just the person you are. But, and that famous Instagram lady that started working out in her 60s, 70s, I can't remember her name right now.
Either.
But anyways, like watching her, and it's like, because I think there's a little bit that's like, oh, well, you're already you didn't do it in your teens.
Right. And now you're just losing
losing it. So what's the point? And then seeing her body transformation of she legit, it's still hopeful. I mean, obviously she's got different genetics than me and all that kind of stuff. But I'm like, even though I am starting in my early 40s, it's worth it. And I can, there's a little bit of the hope molecule of seeing I don't know what her name is, Joan, anyways, something. And seeing her body change is like, okay, it's not
right. You can't, cause. It's not like you can't build muscle.
You can't build muscle.
40.
You can't literally, like, like looking good naked. Like, you can change your body composition. Like, her body looks insanely different than it did, which I'm sure now it's her job and she gives it way more than 20 minutes a day or whatever. But, anyway, so to anybody who's like, that wants to throw it out, I would say hold it for a little bit and consider like you can still change your body even though you're
I love that because I know
know
this was part of the pause that you were really like, I'm not feeling it. Like, this is new to me. I'm not excited about it. And I love that you're like, and you're being like kind with yourself about it too. You're not like, okay, I have to go to the gym and lift out with all these people who intimidate me. You're like, no, I'm gonna do this on my own terms. I'm gonna get, and like, that's so exciting. I love that. And like, you really are like doing this now is setting you up to be able to open a jar.
How old was your sister when y'all did the bodybuilding thing?
Because your older sister did it as well.
40.
And she won.
Yeah. Because, so the thing is, they work in their own category. She's doing another competition in October in her 50s.
That's awesome.
Well, did she just turn 50? I think she just turned 50.
So I mean, that's our age, you know. So
yeah, and she, I think that was the first time she really started like lifting. I think she did the same thing. Like, I think she always went to the gym and worked out, or maybe she did a little bit earlier. But that's when she really like started lifting and learning how to lift. But yeah, that was our age, and so
I was just saying, like, I am like, you guys have all had different, varying levels of experience making strength training a part of your routine. I mean, I've never done it in any consistent way. And so, but I was talking about that lady on Instagram who, that strong old lady, and then not that her sister was old by any means. I mean, she was our age now and she won a competition doing it, like, and which she was very naturally thin. And
she's not though. That's the thing. She lost a lot of weight.
Really?
Like,
I think I've always pictured your sister's feet.
I mean, she's a petite person.
Yeah.
She's like, 5 feet tall or maybe 4'11". But I think to get where she got, I think she lost like 40, 50 pounds.
That's
so it wasn't like,
And she started in her 40s and probably had like half the knowledge we do, just culturally now. We're way more.
There's so much information out there now. And it's so much easier to get it now.
Yeah. So no, that's just, so I guess I was telling them, like, I'm just speaking to the girls out there that are like, oh, that's not for me. It's very much not for me either. I am 100% in your your shoes in that way. But I think it's been surprising to me how like, oh, this feels amazing. Like, I've tried to do it like early in the morning before anybody is awake. Like, it's been a very like.
Do you think this is something you're going to continue after the pauses?
I think so. Oh, yeah. I think it's
that's
been
easy. Like 2 times a week is gonna get you great
something,
results.
yeah.
Like it's not like it's worthless to say, oh, I don't have time to spend an hour in the gym 5 days a week. What's the point? Like, no, if you spend 20 minutes twice a week and you weren't doing anything before, you're gonna get results. Like I love that.
Yeah, and then I've seen some that says like you feel results from the workouts in 2 weeks, but you don't see them until 4. So
And then other people don't see them until whatever.
I've seen that's just kind of, I guess, a random rule of them, but saying don't stop. You know,
Right.
You aren't seeing 6-pack abs after 2 weeks.
Oh,
That's normal.
no.
So for you, Marie, would the motivation be just kind of just going after that feeling of feeling good?
Yeah,
It's not really about looking good or anything like that.
No, I was telling them before you got here. I'm there. I'm realizing now how like purpose driven my brain is. Like if there's not being hot in a technical sense, like I cared about that when I was in the man hunting stage of my life, like late teens, early 20s. Like, oh, I want to be hot. I know this is what makes men want to be around you. And I mean, I was not stereotypically hot. I didn't have boobs or butt, but I mean, like I was.
You were objectively gorgeous.
No,
you
but ridiculous.
You are, but you were,
but not like
stunning.
hot. Like it wasn't like I was, I couldn't.
Marie,
but okay,
You were attractive.
Marie,
I was attractive, right? I was
I'm
attractive.
only married because my husband had a crush on you, so was hanging out with you.
No,
because he thought you were beautiful.
Like, but no, like I wasn't like sexy. I wasn't that. But anyways, I knew I wanted to go out with nice hair and be thin and blah 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 because that meant something to finding a husband or a person. Now I'm like that immediately getting married. I was kind of like I could kind of care less about physically being physically appealing to somebody because it doesn't serve that purpose. And so in the same way, I kind of grouped strength training in with that, moving in with that. Like, oh, you were only doing
Just
that
for
because aesthetically,
superficial.
it was a very superficial reason for me before. It didn't have any other purpose past that. And now just learning more about it, I'm like, oh, you obviously like the osteoporosis, the cardio health. But then also like the happiness hormone that is coming with it. I have been
You were like mind blown by this.
I am literally, because like just the way your whole body feels like open and just like, I was genuinely like, I feel so, like sweating felt so good in that context.
Yeah.
Like I can definitely see where that, so, and then also like my mom is like a huge part of our support system. And so when I think about the kind of old woman, I want to be a very similar old woman to her, that she's like taking care of literally 5 of
everyone's
7
children.
Yeah, everybody's grandchildren, all of her grandchildren. And I'm like, you're not going to get there with these habits today.
Yeah.
And so that's been a bit, so like refocusing that purpose of like, I found new purpose. It's not about being hot.
Yeah.
And I think that
I want to be a useful grandmother.
I want to be a useful grandma now.
Yeah. And sometimes you have to reframe it to what works for you.
Right. And so, and I think that's been like a really big like game changer in my brain. Like, oh, it doesn't have like, because trying to attach it to being cute just is not going to work on me anymore. Because I'm like, I don't even want a husband if this one leaves.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, like I think now I'm like, oh, but it is attached to, I mean, honestly, like this, it's mind blowing how happy you feel after a sweaty, even 20 minutes. It really, from somebody who's never done anything, was game changing. So that's exciting.
That is.
But yeah.
So. Has Mark noticed a difference in your mood?
Okay. In your mood?
Oh, my mood? Probably not. He's probably like, don't lie to them.
You are just as moody as ever.
Well, no. Did I tell y'all this? It was a couple weeks ago. I was just like, I love you so much. Did I tell you? I was like, I love you so much. I was like, you were just, oh my God, I just feel so, I was just like, I don't even understand it. And then I looked at I was like, this feels so weird that I'd be so in love with you right now. I mean, there was nothing, we were like with the kids. It wasn't like in the middle of intimacy of any kind. And I looked and I said, I'm ovulating. Like my body, but then, and then like literally 2 weeks later, I was like, we need to talk. This isn't working.
That's hilarious. I relate to that so much. So much.
It was just so funny.
Every time where I'm like, divorce is the only answer. Like this is it. I can't live like this. It's like I start my period the next day.
Yeah.
Right.
And then 2 weeks later, I'm like, oh, this is just perfect. We're just like meant for each other. We complement each other. So I do the same. I don't know.
And it's just, but watching that, but I will say like this week is when I'm supposed to be meaner. And I was still like, I think you're cool. So I feel like.
Nice,
I feel like it might stabilize you because I feel like that. I felt the up and down.
Me.
Oh, maybe not Michelle. But I felt like the up and down. But I feel like if you were to ask my husband, he'd be like, yeah, she's in a much better mood when she's actively working out or also when she's actively taking care of herself.
Yeah.
She takes the time
100%.
to prioritize herself. I'm just generally in a better mood. I'm less just resentful. Like I don't get anything for myself.
I saw
kinda.
something that was like so telling about you yesterday. She's like making sure all her kids have their life jackets on, and Sean's got his life jacket on. Evita hops in the canoe with no life jacket because she's just like so busy taking care of other
didn't even
people.
think about
like
it.
that's just where your mind, like you're always taking care of your boys and your family, and then
I love
so I think that's great that you're like, no, I have to take care of myself to take better care of them, because if the canoe flipped, you would take much better care of them if you had your own life jacket on.
That's true.
Like, so you got to take care of yourself, but like that's really good that you're stopping to make sure
Sean notices.
I think he does.
and
That's
then
what I'm saying. I think Sean notices it. And it was funny, like maybe a couple weeks ago, my family was over and they were like, I was like, I guess I don't normally show Sean affection like with my family around. So I might have given him like a couple hugs or a kiss or something. And my sisters were like, what is wrong? Like, is something going on that we don't know about? And I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, we never see you just randomly hug Sean. And then I think it was just a funny, like, well, maybe it's because you're taking care of yourself and you're just in a general better mood. I was like, maybe I didn't think about it that way, but
I love
and
that.
it just opens you up when you like love on yourself. It kind of opens you up to give more, I guess. But yeah, that was funny. I think it changes your mood, and maybe not like you said, not the movement, the strength. I'm sure it is that, but it's also just like knowing that you're going to take care of yourself.
Well, kind of like you've said earlier, like Sean prioritizes himself. So maybe when you're not, you're kind of secretly resentful.
Yeah, that's what I'm
So
saying.
you're not going to be loving to him because you're already resenting him.
Yeah.
So now you're taking care of yourself and he's taking care of yourself. So it's equal.
Yeah.
So you're able to love him.
I think so. I think that, I think you kind of build as like the default parent or whatever. You're always like, I'm giving up everything and you get to take care. And but like you said, and it's not even like that he's saying you can't take care of yourself. I just think that I can't. Like the whole work thing. It's like nobody's told me I can't get off of my desk. I just assume I can. I don't know why. But when I do, and it's like, you're right. The resentment kind of dissolves. It's like, I'm taking care of myself. And I get why you're taking care of yourself. It does make you feel better and it makes you more present and this and that. So I was like, oh, okay. So I think that I agree. I think that's a big part of it.
Yay.
I'm so proud of us.
I know.
Is Marie crying? I don't know. Why is she crying? Well, Marie, why are you crying?
No, I'm proud of us.
She hasn't worked out today. She needs
a release. She needs some kind of hormonal release.
I'm going to go for a jog now, guys.
All right.
She will not. That did not happen. Maybe a walk.
Okay.
All right.